Hey, BookTube Sean here, and today I want to talk about some of my reading goals for 2018. I know there's a lot of these 2018 reading goals videos going around, and kind of wanted to add my 2 cents into it. And I get why people make these videos. One, to let you guys know kind of what our plans are for the year, and I think it helps make us more accountable for those goals if we've told them to somebody. And I know I may feel more accountable to trying to stick to some of these goals if I have people to talk to about it, and it's not just me saying, "Oh, I want to do this," and then never doing it. So my first goal for 2018 is I want to do the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge this year. I tried to last year, mostly has a way of breaking me out of my comfort zone of reading, and I kind of fell off of it because joining BookTube helped me with that too. And so I wasn't really going to do a reading challenge this year. I had a couple maybe I was looking at. I was just going to loosely keep track of and just see if what I read fit into it. But I was looking at the challenges of the Read Harder Challenge this year. There's 24 challenges, and I'm actually going to do a separate video about that and just what I'm thinking of for each category of that as it stands right now. But as I was looking at the challenges, close to half of them I knew right off the top of my head what I would want to read for it. So I figured might as well go for it. Why not? Second goal of 2018 is I want to read more translated fiction. And by more translated fiction, I actually mean some translated fiction, because currently I really read zero translated fiction. And I know that there is translated works out there that I would really like to read. Actually, one of the Read Harder challenges involves translated literature. But definitely there's Han Kang books I want to read, Haruki Murakami books I want to read, the Cixin Liu Three Body Problem series I'd like to read. That's all translated from the original language. So yeah, I just want to get more into literature that is kind of outside of America and has to be translated into English in order for me to be able to read it. Another goal is I want to read more of my long tomes. And by that, I mean, that's how I wrote it down on my spreadsheet here. But by that, I mean, like, I already read some, because I'm a fantasy reader, I already read books that are 500-600 pages, close to 700 pages long. Just in general, when I read fantasy, because a lot of those are that long. I'm talking more about, I want to get over size intimidation or length intimidation with books, especially when they get up over 800 pages, between 800 and 1,000 and over 1,000, even over 1,000 pages. I look at that and I'll start them and I'll end up giving up, just because, not because I'm not enjoying the book. It's just sheer size intimidation of the book, and I want to get over that. So I'm actually going to be starting that right at the top of the year. I'm going to start tackling that with The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and I think Robin at the Driftless Reader is going to read that with me. But yeah, January 1st, I'm starting right out of the gate with an over 1,000-page book with Pillars of the Earth. So yeah, I don't want to be intimidated by the size of books anymore. Next challenge or goal of 2018 for me is to read more nonfiction. And this is something I say to myself every year, and I don't end up doing it. I failed at Nonfiction November this year. But I definitely want to read more nonfiction. I just need to find, other than true crime, what my niche in nonfiction is. I do enjoy history too, so that'll help with that. And I'm going to get more. I want to start reading my. I didn't write this down, but that is definitely, it fits into nonfiction, but it's definitely, I think, a separate goal for 2018. And I'm actually going to type this into my spreadsheet when I'm done filming here. But I want to start. I collect classic movie star biographies. I want to start reading those classic movie star biographies that I collect. I think I have probably close to 30 or more classic movie star biographies, just if I'm just guessing off the top of my head. And I have read one of them. I've read one of my Ingrid Bergman ones, and that's it. So I really need to get on those. So that is also going to help with the read more nonfiction goal. I want to finish a few series that I have in process, which is multiple, and I'm still deciding which series I want to focus on. And I'm going to do a separate video, I think, of the series I want to focus on, at least as 2018 starts. But I don't want to keep starting series and never finishing them. I want to read minimum 10 books off of my award winners project. I have a separate video that talks about my award winners project. I'll link it down below. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but I want to read minimum 10 books off of that project. So that is definitely a 2018 goal. Speaking of series, this is not a series I already have in process. This is a series I do want to read, but I want to read Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books, and I want to read them in publication order. I know there's a lot of people who have suggestions about how you should read the Cosmere, like read the Mistborn series first and then do the. But I am big on, even if there is a chronological order of a series, and I'm not just talking about the Cosmere. If there's a chronological order of a series that is out of publication order, like the author released the books one way, but the chronology of the book puts them in a different order than what the author released them in, I still want to read them in that publication order, because I want to experience the books the way the people who were with it from the beginning experienced it. So that's just a personal thing for me. But I do want to read the books that make up the Cosmere, and that's not included in my finish a few series because I haven't started that. I want to try at least 5 new to me authors. 5 authors minimum that I haven't read before. I also want to reread the Harry Potter series. And that also includes not entirely rereading the Harry Potter series. I never got to the 6th and 7th book. I actually didn't finish the 5th book. The 5th book, I stalled in the 5th book, Order of the Phoenix, because at the time for me it just felt like 840 pages of exposition. It was 840 pages of setup for the next 2 books, and I just struggled and eventually just DNF'd. But I do want to finally get through. I want to reread the first 4, finally get through the 5th, and read the 6th and 7th. I've seen all the movies, but I also know that there is stuff that happens in the books that is not in the movies, because the books eventually had to start doing things different, or the movies had to start doing things different from the books, because the movies were filming ahead of what J.K. Rowling was writing, so some of it they didn't know exactly what was going to be important in the upcoming books. And I don't think, like when they were filming the 4th movie, she hadn't finished the 5th book yet, so even she wasn't positive what from the 4th book was going to be important in the 5th book, or something like that. But I know they got off of that, because I know the way they find the Room of Requirements in the 5th book is entirely different than it is in the 5th movie. But anyway, that's a tangent, and long way of saying I want to finally get through reading all of the Harry Potter books. And I also want to. This is the next goal. Is the last thing I have written on my spreadsheet. I want to try not to be so. I call it ADD with reading, and by that I mean, you guys have heard me talk. I always have multiple books going at a time, and it's because I'm a serial book starter. I'm constantly starting books, and I feel like I would get more books read if I wasn't constantly starting new ones and just finishing what I'm currently reading. I have something I'm going to try. It's not going to be in January, but maybe in February I might, especially since February is a shorter month, I might try focusing on one book and not picking up another book until I finish the book I'm currently reading. I also want to take a month and finish books that I have in process. Because I have several books in process that I never get around to finishing, and I would like to finish those books. And maybe I might make that the same month and just try it out and see how it goes. But I got to stop having 5 to 7 books or more going at one time. Like I have finished, today is December 26th. I have finished 3 books this month, and they were all right at the beginning of the month. One of them was a graphic novel, and I don't even want to count how many books in process that I've started. And I haven't finished any other books because I just keep bouncing back and forth between all these other books that I have in process. My Goodreads goal for the year, I'm thinking right now, is going to be 52. I have finished 55 books this year, which is more than I think I've ever finished in a year. And I've got BookTube a lot to thank for that. But so I feel like 52, since I finished 55 this year, isn't too much of a stretch because I could have finished more books this year. I just didn't because I kept bouncing around between books. So I really want to try having a sharper focus on books that I'm currently reading. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how all these go. Another one that I didn't write down, is just kind of in my head, and I may or may not end up doing it, is I have thought about trying to read a little bit more middle grade fiction, and rereading the Harry Potter series definitely falls into that. But I have there's some middle grade series that I've been interested in, that I've come across, that just might be nice, light, easy reads and kind of take me back a little bit. And I don't know, it's just something I've been thinking about. And as always, this year is going to be no different than next year is going to be no different than this past year. And in that I want to try and balance more of my reading so that, 60% or more, 60 to 70% or more of my reading is not all science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Even horror is not even a great percentage of that. It's mostly fantasy. But because I'm interested, I have so many other interests and things I want to read. I need to balance that better. And I'm getting better at it. So 2018, I'm still going to be focusing on that. But anyway, that's it. At least that I can think of right now. Anything else I'll bring up later. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any of your own reading goals, do we have any of the same reading goals? What are yours, and what are you looking forward to in the new year in your reading life? hit me up in the comments. Thank you to all my subscribers, and I will see you all in my next video.